she, her pronouns, am a white older woman with short white hair, green eyes, and wearing glasses to read. We want to acknowledge that here at the church, we are on the lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole peoples. We are a church of many welcomes, and we offer a warm welcome to all of you. This is a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. This is an active church, and everyone is invited to participate in any of our activities. To learn more about events, our church calendar is on our website, uutarpon.org, or we'd be happy to talk with you during the coffee hour. Our children and youth are with us during the beginning of the service, and we have faith formation programming available with our gifted leaders, Jami and Anna. Children gather for their time together with them after the story. If you'd like more information about our programming, please contact Rev Kristina or see Jami after the service. For those present with us in the building, we have connection cards that are available in the pews near the hymnals. If you fill one out and put it in the offering plate or give it to one of our greeters, you'll be able to keep in touch. We'll be able to keep in touch with you. If you're watching us on Zoom or YouTube, you can send us an email at membership@uutarpon.org to get connected. There are also small cards in the pews if you'd like to fill one out with a joy or sorrow, if you prefer to do it in writing. We're delighted to have Rev Kristina Spaude leading the service today. Music is provided by our music director, Bonnie Whitehurst, and the choir. Again, welcome. Opening music, Gather Here, number 389 in the gray hymnal.
It's actually Gather the Spirit, number 347.
Whoops. Who changed?
Yeah, we changed out. We flipped a couple things. Gather the Spirit, and you're welcome to stand for the opening hymn if you like, or if you want to remain seated, that's fine too.
I am the Rev Kristina Spaude. I use she, her pronouns and am a white woman. I have chin-length curly brown hair parted on one side with blue eyes. Our opening words this morning come from Nancy Schaefer. This is First Sabbath. Tell me, did you really rest? You who made day and night and sky that separated waters above and below. You who told the waters below the sky to stay in one place, and out of them asked dry land. Who told the earth to send growing things and then made sun and moon and stars. Who made birds that fly and everything that swims, and cattle and all creeping things and every animal untamed. And then made man and woman, and finally, supposedly, rested. Tell me, how? In the midst of all that buzzing and flapping and slithering and stepping, all that bursting forth of leaf and fruit and stem that never had known themselves before, tell me, how could you possibly have rested after seeing what no one ever had seen before? Beak, hoof, pebble, after losing yourself in 1,000 shades of blue. Water in sun, sky against sky, the horizon where sky and water meet. How did you shut your eyes? How not keep from turning and looking? Didn't you long to caress each small thing? Notice how toes work and stamens and fingers. Weren't you hollering out in amazement? Weren't you so filled up glad you couldn't sleep? Come, let us worship together.
I need Alex up here. We light our chalice with these words from Kathy F. A. Huff. Spirit of life, be present with us this hour. Join us today as we gather in a wider search for truth and purpose. In this quest, may we greet one another with open hearts and minds. May we inspire each other to consider new questions and seek deeper meaning. And may we cultivate wisdom and compassion. Let all who enter this sanctuary and join us online see a welcome face, hear a kind word, and find comfort in this community. And may all that is done and said here today be in service to love and justice.
At this time, we'll sing in your gray hymnal, song number 123, Spirit of Life.
Sing in my
Our story today is titled simply Charles Darwin and was written by Gail Forsyth Vale. From the time he was a little boy, Charles Darwin was an explorer. He loved to roam the fields and hills near his home in Shrewsbury, England. He was fascinated by the movements of small animals and insects and knew each wildflower by name. He was curious about everything he saw and heard and touched, wondering about the lives of the ants and butterflies, examining and collecting rocks, delighting in the grasses, trees, leaves, and flowers that provided homes for his very favorite creature, the beetle. Curiosity about the world and the place of humans in it was a gift given to Charles by both his grandfathers. They were Unitarians and believed that human beings did not yet know all the answers to life's great questions. The clues were to be found in observing the world around them. When Charles was 8, his mother died. Not long after, his father decided to send Charles away to school, where he might learn the things that young gentlemen in his day were expected to know: Greek, Latin, and ancient history. But Charles was more interested in the workings of an anthill or the mysteries found in a rock pile than he was in what he was taught at school. At every opportunity, he took long walks outdoors, watching, listening, and collecting. He delighted in figuring out how creatures behaved and how the natural world worked. This wasn't at all what Charles's father had in mind. He was worried. What would young Charles do when he grew up? What kind of man would he be? When Charles was 15, his father sent him to medical school to become a doctor like his father and grandfather. But he was not interested in medicine. Instead, he found people who would teach him all about different kinds of plants. He began to draw those plants in great detail, labeling all the parts, learning to tell one variety from another. 2 years later, Charles left medical school. It was clear that he didn't want to be a doctor. His father was furious and thought that the endless hours Charles spent outdoors were a waste of time. Determined that Charles would make something of himself, his father sent him to Cambridge University to become a minister. Charles was not unhappy with that decision. In those days, ministers often did science experiments and observations in their spare time. Charles planned to find a small church in the countryside and spend most of his time observing and drawing plants, animals, rocks, and insects. He was still very interested in collecting beetles. One day, Charles tore a piece of bark off a tree and saw 2 rare kinds of beetles. He had one in each hand when he saw a third that he wanted to add to his collection. He quickly popped one beetle into his mouth in order to grab the third, with very bad results. The beetle squirted something nasty tasting, and Charles was forced to spit it out. At Cambridge, Charles discovered what his life's work would be, and he began to call himself a naturalist. Charles went on a journey around the world, and as he traveled, he filled notebooks with drawings and notes. He stayed open to the curiosities of the natural world as they presented themselves. Frogs, salamanders, armadillos, insects, and lots of fossils. When he returned to England 5 years later, he understood how plants and animals evolved from one form to another over the course of many, many thousands and millions of years. 22 years later, Charles Darwin published The Origin of Species. Scientists, preachers, and teachers took notice, and so did the press. The boy collector with the gift of wonder, the spirit of adventure, and openness to new ideas had become the scientist whose theory responded to the mystery of mysteries. Today, people still take notice and debate what Charles Darwin had to say. We will now sing the children to their programming with Jami and Anahis, and as we do so, we will send them along with our love. It's hymn number 413 in the gray hymnal.
Go now in peace, go now in peace, may the light of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace, may the light of love now in peace, let the light of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Now is the time in the service where we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. Ours is a free faith which must sustain itself financially. Please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click on the donate button, or you may mail your offering at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida 34689. For those of you with us in person, in the sanctuary place, your offering will be put in the offering plates as they are passed. Our Give the Plate for June is the Navigator Scouts. This group meets at UUCTS and is open to all genders and ages 4 and up. They offer a safe environment to experience the benefits of scouting regardless of their financial background. Your donations will provide camping gear and outdoor equipment and cover the cost of field trips and supplies and offer scholarships. Make checks out to UUCTS Memo Scouts. Donate online at www.uutarpon.org. Give the plate, select Comment Scouts, or place checks in the Sunday offering. Thank you. The next music. Gather the Spirit.
No, wrong.
Holy Now.
Holy cow. Holy cow. I turned in the music list on Tuesday morning, and then as the service evolved, Rev Kristina made a little shift, and we did not tell Barbara, so we are very sorry. So sorry. Holy Now.
When I was a boy each week, on Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word, and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track. Everything's a miracle.
when holy water was rare and best. It barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half fair, heaven sent the rain hand me down. Now I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. Sing another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shine like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half fair, heaven's second-rate hand-me-downs, but I'm walking with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now.
We will hold a brief moment of silence to let you settle into yourselves and your seats. Maybe take a few deep breaths deep into your belly if that is comfortable for you. In place of a reading today, we have a body blessing by Lisa Bove-Kemper. If you are willing, you are invited to touch different parts of your body as we go through this. Touching your hands to your forehead, if that feels comfortable for you. May you be blessed with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. May your intellect take you far on your journey. You have been blessed with reason and free will. It is your call every day to use these gifts. To your throat, may you be blessed with voice. May you learn the complex nature of truth-telling. The ability to speak the truth in love is something that requires honesty, empathy, and care. You are challenged every day to seek the joy that comes with sharing your truth compassionately, as well as listening to others. Your heart. May your heart be full and blessed with love. May you know the agony of heartbreak as it is intertwined with the elation of true love. Your heart is strong and a resilient organ, one that will be with you until the end of your time on earth. May you heed the wisdom of your heart and always trust the truth it tells. Your abdomen. You are blessed with the gift of sexuality. May you always remember that you are a beloved child of God. Your body is sacred and belongs to you alone. May you live into the full expression of your identity as a human being, embracing your true sexual and gender identity. The gift of sexuality brings with it many rewards as well as great responsibility. May you always retain your power over your own being, striving toward mutually fulfilling and just relationship. Your hands. When you were a baby, your tiny hands were your first contact with the world. Before you could see more than a few feet in front of your face, you grasped the finger of your loved ones. You catch yourself with your hands when you fall, and you express love and comfort to others with them too. May your hands be gentle and strong. May you use them to carry light into the darkness and rest to the weary. May your hands always find the place of greatest need, beginning with your own. And may the Creator of all things hold you in the palm of their hand wherever you go. And with your arms around your body, may you be blessed on your journey. May you remember that growth happens on the journey and that you are never alone. May you always remember that you are a whole person, that each of these parts works together. We offer blessings upon each other, body, mind, and spirit. May you be guided by compassion and truth, justice and love. May you find rest on the journey, always remembering where you came from, being mindful that your ancestors are with you, whether they are present on earth or have gone back to the soul of the world. May you be blessed in all things and carry blessings with you wherever you go. And together we will sing hymn number 389 in the gray hymnal, Gathered Here.
We'll be singing it as a round, and rounds are usually sung 3 times through. The first time will be everyone in unison, and then the second time and the third time we will divide into 2 parts. So these back 2 rows will begin first, and you can join them, or if you want to be a little late, you can join this first row here, and we'll start at number 1 when they are at number 2. Sounds difficult, but it's fine. Together.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered
We sang that song about 10,000 times when I was in seminary. I know it very well now. Currently, scientists estimate that our bodies are made up somewhere around 30 trillion cells and about 38 trillion bacterial cells. Just 1 gram of human DNA can hold up to 215 million gigabytes of data, making our cells incredibly dense storage units of information. Scientists forecast that if all data humans have ever recorded, think about the internet just for a second, all of that data were recorded and captured, and it was converted into our DNA, it would take up a container the size and weight of a couple of pickup trucks. Scientists estimate that humans can distinguish up to 10 million colors or shades of colors. Pantone, the color expert company, is going to be busy for a long time to try to catch up with us. Taste and smell are more complicated to pin down, in part because some of our taste is impacted by our sense of smell, along with other factors. Also, do not Google human taste. You will not get what you're looking for. Our sense of touch is so sensitive that we can distinguish between surfaces that differ with just 1 layer of molecules. Our fingers alone contain tens of thousands of neurons, and our fingertips can receive information down to about 0.4 millimeters. Which is about how far apart the ridges of your fingertips are from one another at the base. I don't know exactly what all of this translates to when I look outside my apartment window with the tree branches hanging and moving in the breeze, the sounds of people and dogs, and often the Pekin ducks who live there and sound like they're laughing when they quack. The smell of the grass and the bushes and the trees and water, and the smell of chlorine as I pass the pool and hot tub. I feel the heat of the sunshine and humidity, or when it becomes overcast, the cooling on my skin. I hear water movement and watch a turtle scamper away. The big ones are the scariest. All I know is that all of this helps create beauty and delight in my days and gives me appreciation for the body that allows me to experience them. Long before René Descartes and his famous maxim, "I think, therefore I am," humans have sought to differentiate between what is often referred to now as the human condition from our sense of spirituality. This legacy traces back in various forms through Martin Luther, who conceived of a 3-part expression of the body, with a body, soul, and spirit, and believed humans to be both carnal and spiritual, or sinful and righteous at the same time. And before Luther, there was, of course, Augustine, who saw humans as a unified body and soul. And also Plato, who differentiated between human and soul, although he believed them to be interdependent, primarily in that the body was given life by the soul. At least one of these beliefs is where the idea that the body is a fancy meat suit that carries your brain around was derived from. This is related to the ongoing theme of these philosophers and theologians who posited not only that the body and soul and or spirit are separate and distinct, but always that the soul and or spirit are superior to the body. Not unlike Wayne Dyer's often used quote that you are not a human being having a spiritual experience, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. For a long time, these ideas resonated with me. Of course, the soul is a superior expression or embodiment, metaphysically, of ourselves. Souls aren't fallible and broken like our bodies. Souls are not limited like our bodies. Souls are perfect, unlike our bodies. The first time I really questioned this was when I did a training for Our Whole Lives, often referred to as OWL, a comprehensive, holistic, accurate, developmentally appropriate lifespan sexuality education curricula, co-authored by UU and UCC staff. It is written for people from kindergarten age through older adults in 7 different programs. It covers a range of topics, including relationships, gender identity and expression, sexual orientation, sexual health, and influences on sexuality. One of the first questions we were asked in that training had to do with why sexuality education matters. One reason is because sexuality education has to do with communicating information and engaging individuals with their and their families, for minors, values as a means to conduct themselves in ways that are consistent with their beliefs and values, and as a way to keep them as safe and healthy as possible. All that to say that sexuality education is important because we are whole and our bodies are sacred. Sexuality education is one way to help us be in better relationships with our own bodies and with those of others. Whatever we might think about the body and soul's relationship, our bodies are worthy of love, respect, and care. I don't know when the last time it might have been that you had an experience of the world without your body, but I'm guessing you haven't. Delighting in the sunshine, feeling warm water on us, tasting foods, stopping and smelling the flowers, even just lying in bed and thinking about things are all experiences that you have in your body. Cole Arthur Riley writes in her book, This Here Flesh, Spirituality, Liberation, and the Stories That Make Us, I am disinterested in any call to spirituality that divorces my mind from my body, voice, or people. She writes, we get to contemplative spirituality by descending into the stories that reside in our bodies. For me, she says, most simply, contemplative spirituality is a fidelity to beholding the divine in all things, in the field, on the walk home, sitting under the oak tree that hugs my house, a sacred attention. Unitarians and Universalists have long been heretical for a variety of reasons, including their primary named theological stances on Unitarianism and Universalism. But this is a superficial understanding of our great heresies. We have long upheld the belief that the sacred is as much to be found in nature, one place where we have long given our own sacred attention. And we could argue that the Unitarians, in their varying beliefs that Jesus was not divine or that Jesus was no more or less divine than any of the rest of us, and the Universalists who believed, one might say, that we are truly made in the image of God in all our gifts and challenges, so not only that we all go to heaven at the time of our death, but that we are already together living as God incarnate, have had deeper theological heresies that encourage us to celebrate being living creatures in wondrous bodies. Unitarians and Universalists were both influenced by the Transcendentalists and later Humanists who pushed Unitarianism and Universalism belief farther into this world as opposed to the possible next, deepening and adding layers to the ways our beliefs impact our lives. Unitarians and Universalists both already focused their interest on what can be done in this life, given that this is the life where we know that we can make a difference. For the Universalists, probably especially, the idea that we all go to heaven wasn't a way to try to shirk responsibilities for improving life here and now, but rather a catalyst with a sense of urgency. We have but this one life in which to make change and impact the world for the better. Let us make good use of it. Even in this context, as a society, we are taught to look outward for delight, wonder, beauty, and other things. We move through forests and woods, delight in flowers and gardens, take to beaches, seek to go places, and do things. We feel a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction when items are crossed off our lists as we have explored. We have biked or hiked or flown or rode or ridden or strolled or stepped or skipped or rolled or wheeled our way through whatever we have sought. As Riley writes in her book, wonder includes the capacity to be in awe of humanity, even your own. It allows us to jettison the dangerous belief that things worthy of wonder can only be located on nature hikes and scenic overlooks. This can distract us from the beauty flowing through us daily. For every second that our organs and bones sustain us is a miracle. When those bones heal, when our wounds scab over, this is our call to marvel at our bodies, their regeneration, their stability or frailty. How often do you sit and wonder about the miracle of your own body, of the way your breath moves in and out of your lungs, your blood moves through your veins and arteries? Do you think about the incredible amount of work that it takes for your muscles to move? Or how many things go into being able to see or smell or touch something? I remember learning about muscle extension and contraction in high school and just being in awe at the number of elements that go into making movement possible. That was all I could think about every time I would move in my chair or play sports. Mostly, I bet, we notice our bodies when something goes wrong, or we push ourselves too far, when we injure something, or something stops working well, or we use surprise muscles, or there's some other change that we notice impacting how we get around and live our lives. Our socio-cultural context tells us that bodies don't matter so much. In some ways, our general current medical practices reinforce this belief. The rush to find a diagnosis and fix something reinforces the belief that our bodies are machines meant to be addressed with an answer, rather than as complex living organisms and ecosystems and miracles layered with other miracles. Even as we're taught to look outside ourselves for wonder, these same spaces and creatures and the interconnected webs of existence are still often treated as things to control, to dominate, to subjugate, to exploit, much as we view our bodies. I heard a podcast once with an expert of the Hebrew Scriptures who observed that the way that the Bible was translated, with God giving dominion over the animals and all creatures, that was a mistranslation. A better translation would have been that humans would be stewards of animals and all creatures, meant to care for and provide for them. How much might be different if we understood ourselves as stewards of animals and living things and the land and the water and everything that makes up the earth, including ourselves. When we learn to respect and appreciate our bodies, to wonder at their abilities regardless of their limits, Riley goes on to say that this grows our sense of dignity. To be able to marvel at the face of our neighbor with the same awe we have for the mountaintop, the sunlight refracting. This manner of vision is what will keep us from destroying each other. In a time and place where some seek dominion over others, especially those with black or brown bodies, of women's bodies, of queer and non-binary and trans bodies, of disabled bodies, of children's bodies. We deny the truth that no one's body is any more miraculous or deserving of rights and dignity and liberation than anyone else's. The more disconnected we are with the wonder of our own bodies, the more willing we are to want to control others, to deny their selfhoods, autonomy, and agency, and to lean into destroying each other. The more disembodied we are, that is, the less connected we are with our own bodies, the more we expect conformity from others, and the more we are willing to legislate others' bodies to give us the same sense of control that we seek in our own lives. For we liberal and progressive people who live in Florida, our voices are needed. The NAACP has issued a travel advisory for Black folks as well as other people of color and queer LGBTQ+ folks. LULAC, the League of United Latin American Citizens, has issued a travel advisory for immigrants and their families to the state of Florida. And Equality Florida and the Human Rights Campaign have issued a travel advisory for queer and LGBTQ folks, as well as all marginalized communities, naming concerns about public school education, including dramatic increases in book bans, increased restrictions on reproductive health care, and repeals to gun safety policies, which make this state a hostile one for these groups, and really all of us by extension. We cannot change things in the near future for those who might want to come here, but we can offer support and care to those who live and will choose to or must stay here. If we are to claim our theologies as Unitarian Universalists, believing in the interdependent web of all existence, believing then that all life and all that makes the earth is sacred, we need to challenge the dominant narratives that say otherwise. That the sacred not only is with us, but is in us, in these bodies, in these vessels we nourish and nurture, themselves miracles worth honoring. We are not expendable or replaceable, nor is anyone else. Again, in this here flesh, Riley writes, to be a people capable of extending welcome to the body, even those bodies the world discards and demeans, is to be people of profound liberation. By this we will know our faith. We will stay whole. And we can only stay whole when we know ourselves in our bodies and know that we need each other. We need to recognize our holy now selves in their fullness and complexity. We should be so amazed at the wonder of the human condition that it keeps us up at night, wondering at how it is possible. And we must remember to always treat one another with that same respect care, and delight. If you would please rise in body or in spirit to sing our closing hymn, number 354 in the gray hymnal, We Laugh, We Cry. Our closing words come from Jean Harrison Newyar, who has written in The Gift of Faith, "In the lore of ancient China, there is a story of a philosopher who was asked, 'Where is the road called hope?' He replied, 'It does not exist, but as people move upon it, it comes into being.' I invite you to continue moving forward, traveling this path, this journey called hope, embodied with me."
We hope that you found meaning in today's service. We close with these words from Krista Taves. It is our work, shared with each other in covenant, that creates and sustains this beloved community. We extinguish this chalice, but its light lives on in the directions we have chosen today. The light of this faith lives on in us, together, in our hearts, minds, bodies, and spirits. Amen, and blessed be.